Lesson 7.1 today, starting chapter 7, is about multiplication properties of exponents. There's 3 different properties that we're hopefully going to talk about today. Looking at this example, we just need to talk about basic vocab real quick. Okay? 3 to the 4th power. Does anyone remember what 3 is called as a vocab term? Starts with a B. Base, good. That is our base, and then what is the 4? What's that called? Exponent, good, or power, whatever you want to call it. Exponent or power. Okay, now let's talk about what this means. Okay, what does 3 to the 4th power mean? Right, 3 times itself 4 different times. Okay, so our base is that 3, and our 4 is it shows up 4 different times. Okay, so what is 3 to the 4th power? 81. Okay, any questions with that vocab? Quick review of what an exponent is. Okay, so starting with this. So 2 to the 2nd power means what? What does 2 to the 2nd power mean? 2 times 2 times, what does 2 to the 4th power mean? Yep, 2 times itself 4 times. So what do you notice 2 to the 2nd power times 2 to the 4th power is? 2 to what power? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So without writing it out every time, how do you think we can get that exponent? Just from looking at this right here, without doing this step. Add the exponents, yep. So if you have powers of the same base, you just add the exponents, okay? Which is what this says. Go ahead and write this definition down and that example so you have it. So product of powers, basically just saying multiplying powers together. If they have the same base, you add their exponents. So when you multiply powers of the same base, you add their exponents. So in this example, let me underline keywords. Multiply the same base, you add exponents. So if I have a to the m power and a to the p, that equals a to the m plus p. Okay, are there any questions on this definition so far? So let's look at a few examples. Number 1, what is our base? Do we have the same base? Which is what? B is our same base, so we keep our base, and then what do we do with the exponents? Add them. 3 plus 5? 8. So B to the 8th power is your answer. Okay, looking at number 2, what do you think about that one? Let's split it up. What are 2 things that I can put together? I can put n's together and I can put our numbers together. So I'm going to separate it out 6 times 2, and then I'm going to put our variables together. Okay, so separating that out. So then what's 6 times 2? 12. And then multiplying powers of the same base, we do what with our base? We keep the base, and then what do we do with the exponents? Add them. 3 plus 7? 10. Then you know you're done when you can't combine anymore. All of your powers only have 1 base left. Okay? Questions so far? So when you multiply powers of the same base, what do you do with the exponents? By how? Adding. Yep. Good. Moving on to our second property today, power of a power. Okay? What this means is to find the power of a power, you're just going to multiply the exponents. I'll let you write that down. So what power to a power means is if we have a power to a power, we multiply the exponents. So we have b to the 3rd power, but that whole thing is raised again to the 5th power. So we have 2 powers that we're working with. When they're right next to each other like that, you're just going to multiply your exponents to get your new exponent. So you're going to keep your base, b, and then multiply your exponents together. Okay, can I move on? All right. So looking at this example on number 1, okay, what is my base? G. So I keep my base, and then since we have a power right next to another power, what do we do with the exponents? Multiply 6 times 7, 42. And then that's it. Okay. Looking at number 2, we got a lot going on. We have a power to a power to a power. Okay. What do you think we do first? Think all the way back to junior high when you learned order of operations. Parentheses, which ones? The inside ones first, right? So we have 2 to the 3rd power raised to the 2nd power. So what do we have now on the inside? Because I keep 2. Right, 3 times 2, we get 6. And then I still have that 4th power on the outside. Is everyone okay so far? Okay, from here, what is the last step I need to do? Multiply again, right? We have a power to a power again, so I keep my base and then multiply my exponents. So when you have a power to a power right next to each other, multiply. Okay, any questions on power to a power? We got one more thing to talk about. Power of a product. I'll give you some time to write this down. So power of a product, what does product mean?
Answer.
Multiplying, right? The answer of a multiplication. Good. So you're going to find the power of each factor and multiply. So if I have a product, a times b, raised to the same power, okay, think distribute. You're going to distribute that exponent to each term inside. So that's going to leave us with a to the m power and b to the m power. So every term you have inside those parentheses, you got to take that power to each term. Okay, it'll make a little more sense when we actually look at an example. Okay, can I move on to those examples? Okay. Looking at number 1, okay, we have a product of multiple powers. We have -2 times x times y to the 3rd. And we have all of that raised to the 5th power. So what you're going to do, take that power to each term. And remember, it's an exponent. Okay, it's not going to be -2 times 5. So if I do this, I get -2 to the 5th power. And then I get times x to what power? 5th, good. And then y, what does y get changed to? Think power of a power. 15, yep. Y to the 15th. Now, whenever you have an actual number raised to a power, you want to figure out what that is. So what's -2 to the 5th power? Making you think. It is 32, but is it going to be positive or negative? It is going to be negative, yep. And then we have x to the 5th and y to the 15th. So I just took that power to every term inside of my parentheses. Okay, go ahead and try number 2. Okay, number 2, we have the product of a power. So what do we need to do? What? Take that exponent to each term, right? So we have 2 squared. What else do we have? X squared. What else? Y to the 4th. And how did you get 4? 2 times 2. Good. And then what's that last thing we have to do? Yep, we got to simplify this right here. 2 squared, 4, and then we have our variables to keep. Good. Any questions on those 3 properties we talked about? Okay, I'm not going to go any farther today.